Okay, so now for our final match, which is the 1300s rank. Um, we have a rematch from the 1300s game that we saw last week, or I guess it was the bonus game from not last week, last month. Um, but it's going to be X 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 versus Sunji the Superior. Um, so X123 is also known as Momo in Discord, and Sonya the Superior is known as Master of Math in Discord, just so people get the name straight. But yeah, these two players, very, very good players. And we see an interesting matchup here, which is Sturm versus Javier um, on Dragon Blood. Dragon Blood, a really cool map. I think it's Dredge that came up with this one. Yeah, that's a Dredge alt. Um, really cool map. These ports can be used to make forward battleships. The center is pretty contestable, but it's not easy to reinforce it. You have a pre-deployed airport, which is pretty cool. Okay, right, and I should probably do the introductions like I normally do. Okay, so yeah, X123, currently online. What's up, man? Has about 110 or so games in his on this account, but I believe that I believe he has a number of alts. So very experienced player. Currently number one in the world at 1424 rating, so nothing to scoff at. And Sonya the Superior again has a whopping like 200, 300 and I'm bad at math on the spot. 370 games, which is insane. Um, and he's a great player. Okay, so the matchup here, right, is Sturm versus Javier, which is pretty cool. Sturm likes being big and bulky and sort of bullying you with big walls and artillery, and his tanks actually don't do so bad. And then Javier, on the other hand, um, kind of built to wall more, defense against, gets extra defense against indirects, so if he gets into wally stalemates, he doesn't mind them so much. I mean, his real strength, though, comes from his CO power, where he gets to have 130, 130 stats for a turn, which is pretty significant. You can leverage that to do a lot of damage. So let's get into the game. Okay, so far, obvious plays. So blue can actually opt to go for this city first. Gray is sort of forced to capture this way because of the extra city counter that's placed for blue. But blue doesn't have that, isn't forced to capture this way. Instead, blue can capture over here to the bottom left if they like. That's how I opened in one of my tournament games, and it seems to work fine. So let's see if, okay, so yeah, indeed, X123 goes for the early T-Copter opening. The T-Copter here has a lot of boosts that it can provide. We'll see how he uses it in this game. Okay, so Sunny Superior opens with B-Copter first, as opposed to going with the T-Copter opening, and goes with a tank on the T-Copter side. So we'll see how that works out for him. So interestingly, because of Sturm's movement boost, this infantry can threaten this capture, which is pretty cool. Yeah, actually, the infantry can capture here, and the B-Copter can reinforce it, which is a nice little idea. We'll see if Momo goes for it, if X123 goes for it. Yeah, okay, so indeed, the infantry captures here, and Sony Superior are actually opting not to go for a immediate anti-air out of this base. So that kind of gives X123 the ability to do this while getting the free B-copter shots. Kind of, yeah, yeah. Oh, and actually, there's a recon involved too, which can help KO the infantry, an infantry that goes for this. So yeah, recon openings with Sturm are usually pretty interesting. Okay, Sonya responds with interrupts with the tank. He's gonna eat a shot onto his tank for that. Uses his T-copter to delay this capture, which is a nice little move. And then actually ends up killing this infantry by jumping off his own city capture with an infantry. Um, that loses a little bit of income, but does prevent this city from being taken. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure what's the better move, but yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. I mean, I guess he has an infantry immediately available to capture the city, and this infantry isn't really busy doing anything else, so yeah, that makes sense to me. Momo finds a nice attack, taking out the infantry by blocking the B-copter from the anti-air with the recon, and reinforcing with the tank too. So X123 looking like he has the right units in the right place on the right hand side. Um, on the left here, looks like he actually baited out a tank shot with his anti-air standing there, and then responded with a tank shot of his own. It means this B-copter can sort of fly around this way uninhibited, but seems fine. Oops. So yeah, actually that T-copter interrupt is perfect. It just it it just as it was about to die, it leaves with an infantry that just finished capturing to go take center. So that was a well executed idea. And then the B boat here is used to delay the capture of this port. You can also use a battleship, but that's a lot more expensive. You can also use a sub too, but yeah, sub. Not sure I'd recommend that one unless you're really trying to do something funny. I was clicking off the button. Okay, so here's the first medium tank from X123. It's in a response to a bunch of tanks being pumped out of the one base side. Or sorry, that's actually a two base side. So yeah, the medium tank is more in a protective role. So that was a cool little tactic, using the black boat to heal the tank. to finish off the last few hit points of the enemy tank, and then using this infantry to safely sit on the port. Okay, so it looks kind of dangerous for X123 on the lower right side here. A lot of stuff is dying. And there's a medium tank, although he does have a neo tank nearby. So at least X123 has stayed ahead in the tech. Oh, and then the last anti-air was exposed. So now this V-copter gets to roam free. Oh, I see, I see. This was a Javier power turn. Okay. That explains why none of the attacks are doing any damage. So again, kind of a precarious situation here. There's a lot of unit count over here with an artillery backing it all up. But there is a Super CO power about to drop for Sturm. So let's see if that lands in the middle of all that. Okay, actually, nice attack here, taking out that threatening artillery. And then the only thing left to threaten these two heavy tanks is the medium tank. So, yeah, that's a nice recognition by X123. Okay, here comes the tower shield. Another power from X123, but we're about to see a massive bomb get dropped. Looks like it's going to land right there. See if we see the meatball. There's the meatball. Boom. So yeah, looks like these tanks were just busy wiping out like the remaining tanks that hit the gray sky tank. And the good thing about this is like there's only one medium tank here to threaten all these heavy tanks because the artillery are not in range. So those are pretty free attacks for the most part. So here, looks like X123 is up a fair bit in unit value at the beginning of his, at the end of his turn. Has a one city lead, and that Super CO power did pretty good work on Javier there. So here it looks like there's a big breach on the artillery walls here, which hurts quite a bit for Sonya. I mean, it looks safe enough, but there's just so much firepower that it can be directed to do whatever it needs to do. Oh, I see. He actually moved first. Yeah, so those artillery were a little bit in a dangerous position. Like the idea here is kill this artillery, kill this one with the B-copter and then either hit the medium tank or the artillery. Yeah, and this is like the second or third turn in a row now that X123 has just ignored this medium tank and it just goes in on the artillery walls. And keep spamming heavy tanks out of this lone base. It's just like over and over and over again. It's pretty brutal. Okay, so Sonya, okay, goes for a trap, for like a half trap here, kind of preventing these heavy tanks from escaping. He could have CO powered to make it even harder for them to escape. But I remember this part. I know that X123 breaks out of that. Yeah, the medium tank B copter take out the infantry, and then as they retreat, these units do damage. So now, so yeah, now X123 is further lengthened his uh, his unit value lead, and the unit count is going further and further his way too. So yeah, these next few turns are just cleanup, I think. That's pretty cute. Moving the B copter up and then blocking off the channel for with the AAs with the black boat. Yeah, X123 just has a lot of really cool moves that end up working his way. Okay, here's Tower of Power or whatever it's called. It is called Tower of Power, like the funk band. Okay, goes for the like jumps on the neo tanks with the medium tanks. Looks pretty good, but the problem is there's a meatball. Yeah, that's yeah okay. Yeah, Sonya's Superior resigns. There's just too many concentrated units here, and a meatball is just gonna go splat and wipe out all the medium tanks. So yeah, really cool game. Seeing play of Sturm. I think I may have downplayed the left-hand side in the center a bit. The recon in the center did a fair amount of economic damage when backed out by a tank and anti-air. But I think like the real slugging happened on the right-hand side with the heavy tanks, and I think that as something that Voice of Akasha mentioned earlier to me is like Javier doesn't really like mass damage because it gets around his CO power by just doing straight damage instead of damage to defense. So having Sturm and having like Sturm and especially Olaf and Hawk that can just pierce right through his armor with mass damage doesn't really go to Javier's favor. So yeah, very interesting game. Yeah. So that wraps up all of the Global League analysis for this time around. If you liked it, yeah, let me know because this is kind of fun to make, but it's a fair bit of work. So yeah, let me know if you liked it, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next one.